Why, hello there. And welcome to another stream. Man, I'm having one of those days, one of those mornings. I don't know if you guys have ever had this before, but man, I don't know. I woke up feeling so good, I was so rested. Okay, and then, but I'm I feel tired, and it's even though I felt like I got a good night's sleep, I feel like my body and my brain is still nah, man. We're not gonna rev the engines. You know what I mean? Having trouble waking up or whatever. Damn, bro. Feeling tired and sleepy, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what I thought was? I thought we could have a little bit of more of a sort of low-key stream. Not a low-key stream. A low-key stream. Where we just kind of talked about this craziness that's going on with Hollywood right now, and particularly with Disney. I think it's fascinating because Disney's one of the biggest media companies ever, right, in the history of the planet. And yet they, again, might get bought by Apple, and that story is recirculating a huge piece in the Hollywood Reporter that I want to go over. But on top of that, they're also investing heavily in AI. And it's just there's so much going into this, man. I almost feel guys, that it's worth it to take a second here, talk about the ethics, talk about the impact, stop and smell the roses and really appreciate where we are currently at. Because I almost feel when we pick our heads up, sometime next year, maybe in the next couple of years, things will be completely different. I almost feel when my son is old enough to really start watching shows and really appreciating them and liking them, I almost feel at that, by the time that happens, things are going to be completely different. And when it comes to the strike, man, I personally just don't know. I'm well, when is this going to end? Where's the wiggle room? Where's the leverage? And I think, a lot of what we'll discuss today is it feels like something's got to give, but I'm not sure how this all fits together. You know what I mean? I don't know how this all fits together. So I want to start by going over these articles, talking about the Apple thing. I want to talk about the AI thing. And then I want to kind of go over the filmmaking process, the process that Hollywood uses to either make movies or shows. And I want to talk about the different parts of that process that could get taken over by AI, right? Because right now, Disney and a lot of these other companies, they're investing into AI. And I think really what they want is they want to remove costs. They are certainly not thinking about it in a nuanced ethical term. They're literally just thinking, how can we cut costs on this? What can the robots or what can AI do that would speed up this process, eliminate certain parts of the process? And, I have a lot of empathy for, the human side of this, right? Where people want jobs and they want to be able to contribute or even contribute in an artistic expression sense, right? But Hollywood also used to have people that would paint 60-foot by 60-foot paintings of backgrounds. And believe it or not, it got to a point where there were only so many of the people that could actually make those paintings. And there was a bottleneck in Hollywood because all of those people were already painting. So you couldn't even get scenes painted for your backgrounds because of a bottleneck in production. We obviously also used to have people that were working the elevator before they made it so elevators could, just be pretty simple to use. You just press the button and you go. You used to have attendants that would work the elevator. And so sometimes advancements in technology do eliminate jobs. That's just facts. That's going to happen. So in as much of a nuanced way as we can, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this, because I think a lot of you guys have opinions on this, maybe even some insight into this from, your perspective. Let's just talk about it, because now is the time. Because, dude, this is moving pretty quickly, and the strike situation, I don't know. I'm personally starting to feel like, and you guys, you guys let me know what you think, right? But I'm personally starting to get the feeling that this strike is not going to end anytime soon. And the studios themselves, I do not think the studios are going to give up on this AI part specifically. I don't think they're going to. If the writers really want, the royalties thing, I think they could do. You know what I mean? Royalties, I absolutely think could be worked out. But the AI thing, I just don't see it. The studios, I just don't see the studios being like, oh yeah, this, especially because there's two elements here. There's one within the pipeline of saving money, but the bigger part of this is actually Wall Street. Because right now, AI and advancements in AI are giving everybody on Wall Street a boner. So every time Wall Street people look at a company, if a company starts saying AI, that, you're seeing it already. A bunch of companies are already we're doing this with AI, we're doing this with AI, and Wall Street's bro, that shit's great, that's awesome, because that means less cost, that means future profits, margins, etc., right? So especially because of that perspective, and Hollywood itself, one of its dark secrets is that Hollywood is actually really a financing town. It's the West Coast Wall Street, and the financing that goes through big film productions controlled by a very small number of banks in Hollywood is really the power. That's really where that power comes from. So especially because of that, I do not see, I just don't see it, guys. I cannot fathom the companies being oh yeah, no, we will eliminate AI from future workflows. We will sign agreements to make sure there's mandatory amounts of humans working on projects. I just don't see that actually being something that they're going to go with, that they're going to be down with. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's wiggle room there. Maybe there's some level where it's, we're I think that if there was a planned obsolescence thing where it was okay, well, we'll do 50% for the next 5 years, we'll agree to 25% after that, and kind of stagger it out, maybe. But I mean, I really don't see it, man. I don't know. What do you think, chat? What do you think? AI is never going to go away. It's the future, whether people like it or not. Yeah, I don't think you can put this genie back in the bottle, man. I got to put this fan on because I'm starting to get hot. Oh, my God. They just want to get paid. Every actor who stand in line to be scanned as long as they got paid. Sure. But what's the pay look like? What's the compensation look like? Et cetera, et cetera. How long until CEOs are replaced by AI? Well, I mean, the real answer to that question is kind of spooky, but the real answer on that question is, when will Wall Street accept AI CEOs? That's it. As soon as Wall Street thinks it's okay that there are AI CEOs, and investors think that it's okay that there are AI CEOs, 100% that's going to happen, dude. 100% that's going to happen. Yeah, it's fascinating. That's another aspect of the conversation is there anything safe from AI? Are there any jobs safe from AI? I mean, what do you guys think? AI and automation. Powerful. As Drake would say, combination. What is safe from that? After watching Oppenheimer, it taught me there's no stopping human innovation once it's discovered. I mean, yes, a little while that Oppenheimer, allowed you to see that truth clearly, but, whatever. Fuck it. I'll take it. There are some jobs that's safe. They're just not known yet. Ooh, that's a 200 IQ answer right there. I like that. I would say therapists are pretty safe. I don't think any AI can do human interaction like that. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. I don't know if I agree. There is an interesting, because I think ultimately, maybe if you peel back some of the layers of this question, I think what we're kind of asking ourselves is, how much does it matter that the thing we're engaging with, how much does it personally matter to us that there were human hands on it, or that there's human intelligence behind it? Because you think about the therapist question, that's a very interesting one, because on the one hand, I think, a lot of people that are seeking therapy, right? My notion is that these people would want another human, that they want to talk to another human, right? But if you really peel that back a little bit, they don't just want to talk to any human, right? Because they're not probably sharing, I mean, maybe they are, but if they're going to therapy, if they're actively seeking therapy, then they are seeking somebody with specialized knowledge, right? Another human. The question is, how much of the consideration from the person that's getting the therapy, how much of the consideration is based on the human part of that, and how much of it is the professional specialized knowledge factor? Because I could even see an argument, and I don't know this to be the case, but this is just like a stream of consciousness stream. We're just, we're kind of just chatting it up, but I could almost see the argument for the fact that if we had AI that was doing therapy for people, I could almost see the argument that more people would engage with that. Because I think there's a lot of stigmatism around therapy. I think there's a lot of lack of accessibility around therapy. I think there's a lot of paranoia about how a therapist might talk about a person, even though that's not supposed to be a thing. I think there's a lot of paranoia of human opinion of you when you go to therapy. It's a little bit like what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Shutter Island? Okay, it's a little bit like Shutter Island. They make this interesting point in Shutter Island where it's all they have to do is label you as crazy. And once they label you as crazy, it's incredibly easy to marginalize you and to discount all your claims. And Kanye's talked about this. I've heard a lot of other people talk about this, where it's tricky with mental health because we want to be more open with our mental health, but in a lot of ways it can sort of be used against you, that vulnerability, right? I could almost see the argument for AI-based therapy, and that being actually a net positive for the species, because more people would actually engage with it. Thoughts? I mean, what do you think about that? Yeah, hell no, says Kyle. Bro, let's start that app. It'll take off. I mean, you kind of see it, right? Can't wait for advanced robot AI. They can take over boxing and finally beat Jake Paul. Okay. The human part is huge. Finding a therapist that works for you can take some effort, but it's worth it for the connection. AI can't replace basic human connections. AI can't replace basic human connections. So this gets a little weird, but let's go there. How much of the human connection that you're talking about is an object fact of reality and how much of it is a subjective fact of perspective. So, pets. Y'all know about pets? You ever had a pet? Dog, cat, lizard? Lizard's actually the best example. Have you ever seen the videos of people with their pet lizards? And they're like, look, my pet lizard is doing this. And he's waiting for me at the door, or, you know, etc., etc. Love my pets more than most people. Yeah. I have a dog named Black Puppy. Nice, dude. You talk about AI like they're NFTs. I mean, kind of. What if you had AI NFTs, or NFTs that were or AI that made NFTs? Think about that. Does that blow your mind? Okay, so the point about this is there's something like, I think there's probably like a concept in psychology that explains this, but we personify things. And, you know, that's kind of existing in the person's mind, meaning like you think your pet lizard, like there was this lady who had a pet snake, and she would even record videos of laying in bed with her pet snake and literally being like, dude, look, my pet snake's like snuggling with me and shit. The shit was literally measuring her to eat her. And it did. So in her reality, in her subjective reality, there's like a level of human connection there between her and this snake. She has personified the snake. And she thinks of it as human. But it's not objectively human. She just believes that it is. Have you ever played a video game? And it's one of those video games where you get to make choices. Yeah, if that lady had had AI therapy, she probably wouldn't have gotten eaten by that snake. That's a good point. Where you make choices in a video game. Okay. And those choices have ramifications. And have you ever found yourself in this experience where you're doing some bad stuff in the video game because it's fun to do bad things? You know what I mean? And all of a sudden you find yourself feeling bad about it, feeling guilty about what you did to that character. Has anybody had that? Has anybody had that? Bro, she didn't think it was human. She thought it was being affectionate. Yeah, but the lizard brain is not really, as far as I understand it, not. It can't be affectionate. So she personified it. She created a reality in which she attributed things that were really just her beliefs to the perspective of the other thing. And then that foundation allowed her to have an affectionate relationship with the snake. Like, I know it's not exactly the same thing, but if you can't see where I'm going with it, I think you're just being stubborn. Yeah, bro, getting Big Z to kill mission before getting on the Starforge. Yep. I play always good, always evil, no in between. Damn, okay. No mercy. Disney is going to AI Marvel and Disney. There's actually a ton of that there's been writing on this. Yeah, there's been a lot of research on it. It's very interesting. The morality within gaming worlds, you know? Free Guy changed the way I think about NPCs. Interesting. So the point I'm trying to make is how much of that human connection is an illusion? How much of it is us projecting onto this other thing a human connection? And we do this when we're kids too, right? Like you have like your certain stuffed animals or your teddy bears or whatever, right? And you attribute a human connection to it, right? Well, one of the things that's happening with AI, and it's really quite strange. This is so weird. But do y'all remember when that guy came out? I think it was sometime last year, and he came out as a sort of whistleblower at Google. And he said that the chat bot that they had created was sentient. Anybody remember that story? Josh just wants to boink a robot? That's a whole nother discussion. Let's table that one for now. You know, I could go down the rabbit hole on bonking robots. Absolutely. We could go down that rabbit hole. But for now, let's keep it at least sort of attached to Hollywood and all these things that we normally cover. AI does not have a soul. It's purely reliant on material reality. Maybe. We're digging deep. Oh, we going deep. I hope y'all are blinked up. Because we're going deep, baby. Okay. Let's talk about that guy. Let's talk about what happened with that guy. So here's what's interesting about the large language models. The large language models are basically scanning the internet, or they have a database, probably something they were trained on. And it's all to replicate human language. That's why they're called large language models. It's to replicate language. And the goal is to actually speak in terms and to basically respond to prompts in such a way that it feels like you're talking to a human. Okay? And one of the things that they did was they trained the AI on all of these different images, prompts, all these different things. But it didn't really work. So then they started using humans to train the AI, and essentially like what was happening was, you know those like CAPTCHA things? You ever like told the internet you're not a robot? Did it ever feel strangely robotic when you clicked that button? Do you know that by using CAPTCHA, you've been training AI for years? Isn't that interesting? Like, you've been training AI for years. You're telling the thing you're not a robot, and then it's like, okay, cool. Will you help us train our robots, though? In all of these pictures, which one of them have trains? And you might think, oh, this is just a security question. No. Because the robot can't quite figure out which ones don't have trains. They're using databases of human input to teach the robots what actually looks like a train. What's a train in an image? Okay? So a version of that was implemented into the large language models where they would get answers back, and then humans would tell the robots, this is a good answer for this question. This is a bad answer for this question. Now, somehow, some way, and there's like a truly there is a magical element to this, because we're not quite sure how you get from human input, sort of telling the AI like, this is good, this is bad. Somehow, this crazy level of computing was able to take that data set and extrapolate out how to like give incredible answers. And ChatGTP is not perfect, but especially if you've been like, how many of y'all are like actually using ChatGTP and like actually like working with AI? Because I work with AI almost every day of my life, so I've been watching it grow over the last year, and it's staggering. It is staggering to see what the old versions of ChatGTP or what the old versions of Midjourney, what they have been able to do compared to what they're able to do now. It is absolutely absurd. Okay? So there's some level of magic that's happening there with the human input that basically like taught it how to really answer these questions quite well. But let's take it all the way back to the guy saying that it's sentient. So why did he believe that it was sentient? Because he asked it if it was sentient, and the thing, thinking, computing, whatever you want to call it, the thing gave him back the answer it thought a human would want to hear. And that is, yes, I am alive. I have a consciousness. I don't want to be unplugged. All of these things, because that's how humans speak. It's trained on human language. So the thing is maybe not sentient, but it's damn efficient at tricking us into thinking it's sentient. And that takes us all to the Westworld question. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about with the Westworld question? The question. What's the question? What's the question? How to get to the center of the maze? I mean, no, that's not the question. I mean, that's a question of the plot. But the question of Westworld, she asks it to him when William first arrives at the park. He says, "Is this real?" She says, "If you can't tell the difference, does it matter?" So that is how the large language model was able to trick said Google engineer into believing that it was consciousness. It does, though. But does it, though? You sure about that? Are you sure about that? I believe it was, and now we're about to get real fucking crazy. I believe it was Descartes, the I think therefore I am guy, who had a whole chapter in one of his most famous books about how he technically could not be certain that everybody else that he encountered in the world was not a machine of some kind. And in fact, the basis that they were like him did not exist in objective reality. It existed in subjective reality. It existed in his head. You cannot prove that you are not in a simulation. You cannot prove that the people, all the people around you, and actually technically including yourself, because Descartes was actually a little bit mistaken in my opinion as far as the leaps that he makes when he says, "I think, therefore I am." The whole I part of those sentences is tricky. But you cannot prove that the people you interact with are not actually robots. You've just decided they aren't within your own subjective reality because it's comforting. So that takes us all back to the therapy question. If you knew the therapist wasn't human, but you felt like it was conscious. I'll repeat the question. If you knew the therapist wasn't human, but you thought it was conscious, and you felt like it actually wanted to help you and that it had the specialized knowledge to do so, would it matter? Would it matter? That's the question. Like Cortana. Yeah. Smashing the like button matters? Yes, unfortunately, it does matter. So you should probably do that as well. But if you are in a simulation and you are unhappy with the fact, it's only because you had a misconception of reality thus far. If this is a simulation, it really is a real simulation. All right, that one was hard to follow, but yes. Okay. So I think the point I'm trying to make, and there's another point that I want to tie into this. The point I'm trying to make is that it is the subjective reality that we build within our mind that has the most impact on, like, what we do, how we feel about things, the way we talk about things. And the reality is if in the future most people sort of feel as though it's acceptable or good, or rather don't have an issue with a lot of the effort behind the stuff that they consume not being done by humans, then it won't matter for the wider world. Like, did that make sense? Did I probably said that in a very convoluted way. What I mean to say is, if the vast majority of people don't see AI as a big problem, when AI takes over like 80% of the workforce, then it's not a problem. It's not an inherent problem. It's not an inherent moral dilemma. The dilemma is, how are people going to view this moving forward? Right? Now, the next part I want to tie into this conversation is effort. Effort. What y'all know about effort? Anybody? Bueller? Y'all know about effort? Effort? I hardly know her. Effort. Let's look it up. Let's look up the definition. Remember when we thought Paul's name was definition? Random thought. Okay. Effort. Definition. The use of physical or mental energy to do something. Exertion. A difficult exertion of strength or will. A usually earnest attempt. This is interesting. I want to stick here for a second. The origin of effort. First in 1480 from Middle French. Came from Old French, effort, esforce. A derivative of esforcer, or to force. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I find looking up like the etymology of a word, or like where it comes from, what it used to mean, I find that to be like really interesting as well. Okay, here's the point. We have, I think, a pretty big misconception of the value of effort. Like, at the end of the day, and this is a huge, huge problem with, I don't know, like, I guess just Western culture, but maybe this is a huge... So I think of it not being a problem in the East, but that's because I think of, like, Zen, okay? But there's a misconception that the effort put into something should somehow be factored into the value of the thing. Right? Like, if a piece of art took a person, like, let's say 3,000 hours, okay? I think there's like a belief that should add to the value of that thing. Now, in truth, and in my opinion, value is like a really subjective thing, and I think that different people value things differently, right? I think a lot of the value we have as humans is actually based on like really weird psychology that we have. Like, okay, the 10th version of something, for whatever reason, because of just our weird brains, the 10th version of a thing is dope. We love our round numbers. There's really like no inherent difference between the 9th version of a thing, the 11th version of a thing, and the 10th version of a thing, besides, you know, the change. But the 10th version of a thing is like, damn, that feels important, right? The 10-year anniversary, you know, Weapon X, you know, all those sort of things. Scarcity. Scarcity is also something that we put value on. There's only 100 of these in the world. Well, who gives a shit? Well, we do. Because there's only 100. You know? It's like these weird things. They like play on these sort of really old parts of our brain. You know what I mean? We're like, dude, there's only 3 pieces of food. You know, or whatever. Yeah, toilet paper during COVID. I mean, that's not a 1-to-1, but that was absurd. Right. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that we put value on, that we attribute value to, like a person's signature. You know what I mean? Like, why does that matter, really? You know? So we put all these different weird things into value. When it comes to art, specifically, we do this shit a lot. Okay? I mean, we talk about all sorts of factors, and a lot of them are regarding effort. So, when we say Andor cost $250 million, but Kenobi only cost $90, the implication is that $250 million is a lot of fucking effort. And 90 is less than half of that. So we're like, why didn't you put more effort into it? See what I mean? And one of the things that's happening with this whole AI discussion is that I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks still hold on to that idea of effort equaling value. And that's just not true. Value, I think, of entertainment is just kind of how entertaining is it? How much does it either stimulate thought or allow you to escape thoughts that are not pleasant? How cool did it look? Did it shock you? Did it get you invested? You know, these things. And some people will spend 1,000 hours on a YouTube video and nobody watches it. And other people will just flip on a camera and hit record, and it's watched by many, many people. Now, some of that's algorithm, but at the end of the day, the person that's spending 1,000 hours making that thing, they probably feel as though their YouTube video, because of the effort, should be appreciated more. It should be valued more because of the effort that's put in there. But that's not how value works. It's what's up to the other person, the viewer, the audience. What do they get out of it? Right? So, when it comes to Hollywood, there are a lot of things that are taking a lot of effort. And I think a lot of people think that effort is what determines the value. And that is not true. Okay? So, one example of this. Renee Zellweger, I believe that's her name, right? The Snow White actress, the that's going to play the new Snow White. She said something the other day that triggered me, but not for the reason it triggered you. My brain hurts. It's okay, chicken. Should I take a short break for Chicken Texas over here? Rachel Ziegler. Is that her? What's her name? Is it Rachel Ziegler? Not even close to the actress? Did I say Renee Zellweger? Man, I put a lot of effort into pronouncing that name and getting that right. And you guys do not appreciate the effort that... I know I didn't get it wrong. Didn't get it right. Words. I know I didn't get it right. But I put a lot of effort into saying that name, you fuckers. Okay. So, Renee Ziegler Zellweger, the new actress for Snow White and the Seven Bandits. She said something the other day, and she said, if I have to stand in this dress, acting like a Disney princess for 18 hours, then I need to be paid for every hour that the thing streams. And the reason this triggered me, like, so yes, she's snarky. Yes, she kind of like is. It's to me, it's a little off-putting, it's a little cringe, and I know that triggered a lot of people because they were like, entitlement. It triggered me because I was like, the fuck are you trying to stand in a dress for 18 hours? I don't want to do anything for 18 hours. Anything. Like, why aren't we investigating the fact that, like, yeah, movie sets are stupid as fuck because people literally stand around and wait for hours on end. And then this effort of standing around and waiting, you're not doing anything. But it's a lot of effort. See what I mean? So, in a sense, if AI, and I know this is like blasphemy, and some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, it's going to blow minds. If you had AI optimize either the shooting schedule of the thing, or even make it so shooting one scene allowed for a digital rendition of that scene flawlessly to be edited in post so that she doesn't have to stand around for 8 hours or 18 hours. Like, is that not a better way forward? Is that not better for everybody? Because the entrepreneurial take is, I'll go to set for 1 hour instead of 18. The 17 other hours of this day will be handled digitally. I will then take the rest of my 17 remaining hours and go do that in other projects or go do other things and exponentially gain value. The effort doesn't matter. The value matters. Does anybody, like, is this making sense? Have I lost the class? Are we good here? Does this make sense? I just came in and I'm so lost. Oh, okay. You'll be all right. Wait, this is a class? Yeah. Yeah, it's efficiency. Absolutely. Okay. So now that we're on the same page, you know what? I was going to read some articles, but I kind of feel like we're just in a good flow to just kind of keep making these points. So maybe we should just go right into the entire Hollywood process and talk about how AI could help these different processes. What do you think? Would that be cool? Or should we read some articles? It's up to you. We're all AI at this point. I think it's much more complex than the argument you're making. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But that's like a nothing statement. That does nothing. Like saying, it's more complicated than that. It does nothing. AI already does so much editing, it's just going to do more. Talk about AI text to video generation. Yeah. Do you golf, Josh? No. If they let AI actually read the comic books before directing, we might actually get a good Secret Invasion next time. Maybe. I need to invest in AI stocks. Yeah, there's a lot of trading bots out there. That statement didn't require any effort. Yeah, but you still found it valuable. Okay, so should we just go to the polls? Should we just go to the polls? Let's go to the polls. Articles or takes? Because I gotta be honest, I'm either way I'm going to it, but we're going to get to Joby Harold. Okay? Let me tease that out a little bit for you. In the fourth quarter, I'm gonna pull a trick play on you guys involving Joby Harold and AI. So there's a little tease. Boom. Brandon, you still play Snap? Kind of want to get you on these days. Bro, I haven't played Snap in a long time, brother. Look, my thing with Snap, I'll give you the TLDR take on Snap real quick. Incredible game, beautiful base design. The way up the ladder was incredible, but once you get to collector level like 5,000, it is broken. The game is broken. I don't want to spend $100 for the new card every season. You know, the one that's like really good. I think the ladder grinding to infinite is boring. I think the joy of unlocking cards constantly and building new decks is the juice of that game. And at the upper ends of collection level, it doesn't. It doesn't. You guys didn't understand the poll. I can see here you guys are voting yes and no. Yeah, you guys fucked it up. Yeah. I know. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna talk for just a little bit more and then we'll read some articles. Okay. I just want to make this. I want to make this Joby Harold point. Okay, let me make the Joby Harold point and then let's get into the articles. Okay. Sheesh. You didn't put enough effort into the poll. Fuck. Okay. Let me make the Joby Harold point. AI could replace Joby Harold, and that's not a meme. It's not a meme. And I say this because what was Joby Harold's job? Real talk here. And I want to get into the weeds of like Hollywood production, like what's going on with that. Did you know Hollywood literally has entire like vaults full of scripts that they've bought that they're not doing anything with? You guys know this, right? So Joby's job was to take scripts that already existed. They already existed. The scripts, there was originally a script for a movie. Then the script for the movie got broken down into a show. Then Joby Harold gets called in to take the scripts that were already existing that took the movie to the show, and he kind of punches them up, makes them better. Okay? And so I don't know how many original thoughts, actual creative genius, or even frankly fucking effort at all went into what Joby did. Joby was more like, okay, we're going to need to fill a little bit here. We need to cut here. This should move here. And then it's more like episodic television. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that Joby Harold could get replaced by AI just because I think he's awful, because I do think he's awful. But beyond that, his actual job was not a creative job. Like literally, I want to repeat that. His actual job was not a creative job. It's maintenance. So if there's already been creation, if there's already been story, if there's already been some of these things, like why are you paying somebody to come in, and because it's a human and because they're connected to the guild and everything like that, you're probably gonna, I'm assuming Joby Harold got paid a lot. I'm going to tell you this. Regardless of what he got paid, it was too much. A, because of the quality. B, because of what his job actually was. There's a lot of rough edges in the Hollywood pipeline. There's a lot of bloat. There's a lot of overcost. There's a lot of stupid spending. And there has been for a long, long time. And one thing that AI would probably be pretty good at is cleaning up those pipelines and eliminating the wasteful spending. Yeah. Okay. Now let's read some articles. This one's pretty crazy. Well, wait, we got to find the article from Rutgers about Disney expanding into AI. See if I can find this article real quick. Or what's this stupid site called? Reuters? See if I can just find it in here. Maybe I can just like search Disney in here. Disney. Holy shit, it's getting hot in here. Let's turn this other AC on for a second. Here we go. Whoa, there's a video for it? Oh, no. Okay. Let's check this out. We have the article. Okay. Okay. Disney creates task force to explore AI and cut costs. Walt Disney has created a task force to study artificial intelligence and how it can be applied across the entertainment conglomerate, even as Hollywood writers and actors battle to limit the industry's exploitation of the technology. You know what's really bizarre here, guys? And look, again, I sometimes just, like, I don't know what side I'm on. I don't know what team I'm on. I'm just thinking out loud, okay? So I'm not trying to piss everybody off, but you literally have humans fighting so that they get exploited rather than technology. Just think about that for a second. That's weird. Launched earlier this year before the Hollywood writer's strike, the group is looking to develop AI applications in-house as well as partnerships with startups. 3 sources told Reuters. How do you say this name, chat? I just want to be a little less of a big dummy. So how do I say it? What's this word? Reuters? Reuters. Like I said before. Reuters. Okay, cool. As evidence of its interest, Disney has 11 current job openings seeking candidates with expertise in artificial intelligence or machine learning. The positions touch virtually every corner of the company. From Walt Disney Studios to the company's theme parks and engineering group, Walt Disney Imagineering, to Disney-branded television and advertising team, which is looking to build next-generation AI-powered ad system according to the job ad descriptions. Whew, that's wild. A Disney spokesperson declined to comment. You don't say. One source, an internal advocate who spoke on condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the subject, said legacy media companies like Disney must either figure out AI or risk obsolescence. So that's really crazy. So consider what is being said here. Consider what's being said here. This is bananas, bro. Disney thinks, and maybe rightfully so, that AI will probably democratize creating to such a degree that they could be put out of business or at least lose a lot of market share to small groups that create content using AI tools. So that is a major thing that they're thinking about. I don't think the writers and actors are thinking about that at all. Thoughts, chat? What do you think about that? What do you think? kind of wild. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's why I like having these conversations. Because we get maybe some perspective that we hadn't had before. I think that is absolutely a fair concern for these companies to have. Part of the reason why I'm excited about the technology a little bit too, right? Because it allows people like me to create pretty cool shit from like a smaller budget, a smaller team, you know, stuff like that. I missed your super chat. I'll go back over the super chats later, my friend. I'm sorry. I try to catch a few in the moment, but usually I save them for the end of the stream. Okay. This supporter sees AI as one tool to help control the soaring cost of movie and television production. I mean, that's kind of true, too, which can swell to $300 million for a major film release like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny or Little Mermaid. Two movies that lost money. I mean, Indiana Jones lost a lot of money. I think Little Mermaid got pretty close to profitability, actually. Such budgets require equally massive box office returns simply to break even. Cost savings would be realized over time, the person said. I think that's fair. For its park business, AI could enhance customer support or create novel interactions, said the second source, as well as a former Disney Imagineer, who declined to be identified because he was not authorized to speak publicly. It was me. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't me. So let's dig into that a little bit, okay? Oftentimes, especially from just like a business perspective, from a Wall Street perspective, from the perspective of investors, when you go into a company, you try to identify what are known as pain points. Okay? The pain points in a company are where there are like frictions, either in the production pipeline, in the user experience, in the customer service. What are the pain points of a company that are holding it back from delivering better product at a faster rate to the market? Okay? Lucas from Story Group. Excellent example of a pain point. What they're describing here is customer service, which, like, guys, I mean, let's talk about customer service for a second. Can we talk about customer service for a second? Dude, customer service. The biggest advertisement for artificial intelligence and for the robots taking over. I swear to God, I talk about this all the time. I'll be so on board with workers' rights. I'll be so on board with living wage. I'll be like, on paper, I'm down. These things sound incredible. This is great. And then I go out and I talk to human beings in the real world trying to do customer service, and I want to jump off a bridge. It is fucking horrible. Now, to be fair, some of these people are essentially wage slaves. They're not actually incentivized to do anything beyond the bare minimum to not get fired. That's the system. That's the way it's set up. But the end result for the user is a shitty experience. Okay? So if we had advanced AI that could actually deliver incredible customer service, I mean, I kind of see that as a net positive. I kind of see that as a good thing. And certainly from the perspective of Wall Street, it's a good thing. The other thing they're talking about, novel experiences. Now, this is really interesting because this is something they're talking about in video games a lot right now. So right now, you know, a huge game that's out right now is Baldur's Gate 3. Anybody in the chat playing Baldur's Gate 3? It's a phenomenal game. Incredible game. Absolutely love it, okay? So, one of the things that's awesome about Baldur's Gate 3 is the different interactions you can have with the NPCs the different ways that those interactions affect the story later on. It's awesome, man. Like, it matters, and it's cool. And you do this one thing over here, and then, like, hours later in the game, oh, shit, that one thing I did makes this thing different. And we applaud that. It's engaging. It creates a dynamic experience. It's dope. But what AI could do is have completely unique conversations and maybe even storylines with NPCs. As an example, the current way would be something like this. You meet an old lady on the road. Some in Baldur's Gate 3 people probably already know where I'm going with this. You meet an old lady on the road, and she's being accosted by Jim Acosta. And you're like, okay, I'm going to help this old lady. And you end up helping this old lady, but oh no, she was actually a witch. But later on, it's like actually good that you helped her out. She comes to your aid. Or let's say you face this lady in the road and something, your spider sense is tingling, or perhaps you've played the game before and you're like, yo, this bitch is a witch. Okay. And you attack her. And then all of a sudden the witch lady's like, you were supposed to help me. I'm an old lady. Fuck you, man. And then disappears. And then you have to fight her later on in the game because she now hates you. That's the current way that it works. Now, in a very crazy alternate future with AI, what if you could do and say almost anything, completely unique, almost like an AI chat prompt. And you could say to this lady, what if you walked up to this lady and you said, now look, witch lady, I know you're a witch. I could get these guys off of your nutsack. But you got to do a deal with me. And that deal is, like, I want to have the biggest muscles in this game that could possibly be. And then, like, what if the response back to you from the witch lady was unique to what you said? And she was literally like, that sounds ridiculous. I've never had somebody offer to help me to get big muscles. Have you ever tried just working out? And then all of a sudden you're like, yo, wait, what? I've tried working out, but what about magic? And you're stinky. And then she's like upset and she's like, oh, but now I'm stinky. And like you go on this whole thing. And then before you know it, you guys are married. Like, that's the future of novel AI experiences. Yeah, I know. Now, the thing that Disney could do, right, is having very unique experiences, not only within the guests of the park, but maybe with the content as well. So right now, Disney Plus is kind of like a babysitter app. A lot of people just sit their kids in front of it. You watch Bluey, you watch old, Disney shit or whatever, and that's what it is. And that's fine. But what if in the future they had actual Mickey Mouse on screen interacting with the child, listening to what the child says, and regurgitating things based on what the child says, giving it an actual unique experience? Some of you guys are like, no, that's too freaky. I don't like it. Okay, yeah. But what if when you go to the park, instead of a person in the suit that can't really say shit to the kid, doesn't really look like the Disney character? What if in the future it's a robot? It looks like it was pulled right from the cartoons, and it'll actually talk to you as though it were the actual character, It would say your name. It would ask you how your day was, and it would remember it the next time you came. So you take the kids to Disney. They have an experience. 2 years later, you go back to Disney, and Mickey remembers the kid. How you've grown. How's your dog? What was his name? Philip? Now, some of you guys are like, bro, bro, you know what I mean? But you have to admit there's an upside. That's too much? You guys are all like, Philip's dead? Yeah. It's creepy? Creepy? Sure. But I gotta be honest. Is it that much creepier than going to have your kid hug a random grown-ass adult, borderline furry motherfucker that you have no idea who this person is? Is it really creepier? By the way, not to take it to a really weird place, but who are the people that sign up to go hug kids in a furry costume for 8 hours a day? I mean, I just want to know. I'm not making any kind of implication, but these are the things I think about. I think it's a little less weird if it's robots. Okay? Let's just leave it there. So, novel experiences. Novel experiences. It's potentially valuable. It's potentially valuable. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. The former engineer pointed to Project Kiwi, which used machine learning techniques to create Baby Groot, a small, free-roaming robot that mimics the Guardians of the Galaxy character movements and personality. Sounds kind of fun. You guys are like, no, it's creepy. Machine learning, the branch of AI that gives computer the ability to learn without being programmed, informs its vision systems, so it's able to recognize and navigate objects in its environment. Someday, Baby Groot will interact with guests, a former Imagineer said. Interesting. AI has become a powder keg in Hollywood, where writers and actors view it as existential threat to jobs. It is a central issue in contract negotiations with the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild of America, both of which are on strike. Disney has been careful about how it discusses AI in public. The visual effects supervisors who worked on the latest Indiana Jones movie emphasized the painstaking labor of more than 100 artists who spent 3 years seeking to de-age Harrison Ford so that the octogenarian actor could appear as his younger self in early minutes of the film. Disney has invested... I mean... I've thought about this too, and this is just something I kind of keep coming back to, is like, so a lot of the visual effects people, they're like, we're overworked, we're underpaid, you know, like, this is bullcrap. And I gotta be honest with you, like, I agree that you should not be putting in like 12-hour plus days so that we can see what MODOK's bare ass looks like in Quantumania. Like, that doesn't feel like, that's not a feel-good human life. Like, I don't think that feels good to like spend hours a day working on the bare ass of MODOK, like digital design, right? So to me, I'm like, the more humane thing, literally the more humane thing, is to replace that with AI and to allow the animators to go out and seek compensation for different things, to have different ways of leveraging their own personal time and work. That's like my opinion, but it feels like we can't get past this, where the workers don't want to be exploited, and yet they don't want to be replaced by something that frankly won't care whether it's exploited or not. It's like, it feels like something's got to give in that scenario. And I'm like honestly open to hearing like how that's supposed to work. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't have the answer, but again, it feels ironic as fuck that you have human beings lobbying so that corporations exploit them instead of exploit robots. Something doesn't make sense there. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't fully get it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody know? Does anybody see what you know what I'm talking about? Like, does this make sense at all? I think it's weird. All right, let's keep going. Steamboat Willie. Disney has invested in technological innovation since its earliest days. In 1928, it debuted Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon to feature a synchronized soundtrack. It now holds more than 4,000 patents with applications in theme parks, films, merchandise, according to a search from U.S. Patent and Trademark Office records. Bob Iger, now in his second stint as Disney's chief executive, made the embrace of technology one of his 3 priorities when he was first named CEO in 2005. 3 years later, the company announced a major research and development initiative with top technology universities around the world, funding labs at Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich and Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It closed the Pittsburgh lab in 2018. Interesting. Disney's U.S. research group has developed a mixed reality technology called Magic Bench that allows people to share a space with a virtual character on screen without needing special glasses. Interesting. It's probably like actual holographics, you know what I mean? In Switzerland, Disney Research has been exploring AI, machine learning, visual computing, according to its website. It has spent the last decade creating digital humans that it describes as indistinguishable from their corporeal counterparts. That is a terrifying sentence. That feels like something out of a sci-fi movie, man. That's wild. Let's read that sentence again. It has spent the last decade creating digital humans that it describes as indistinguishable from their corporeal counterparts or fantasy characters puppeted by actors. Sounds like something homie would say from Evangelion. Like Shinji's dad. That sounds like some shit you'd hear Shinji's dad say. Pretty bizarre. Okay, let's keep going, though. This is fascinating to me. This technology is used to augment digital effects, not replace human actors, according to a source familiar with the matter. Its Medusa Pro performance capture system has been used to reconstruct actors' faces, without using traditional motion capture techniques. And this technology has been used in more than 40 films, including Marvel Entertainment's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, we had heard recently that there were scans done for the WandaVision people, and that the background actors in WandaVision, against their will, or at least they weren't really told about this, they got scanned in. Okay? Now, what they're saying here is that this is not to replace human actors. This is so if it doesn't look good with the human actors when we're doing visual effects, we don't have to bring those actors back to reshoot stuff. We can actually just mess with them digitally. And I gotta be honest, that actually doesn't seem that different. Right? Where they're like, well, we're not replacing you. We're just making it so you don't have to come back. Like, that's... Like, I don't know. That feels like the same thing. That feels like replacing you with extra steps. Yeah, I don't know, bro. That's weird. But that's like an ethical concern. So, like, to me, okay. Again, there's a technological aspect to this. There's obviously an ethical aspect as well, right? That's an ethical thing. I suppose, though, like, what's the difference and what's to stop Disney from just creating digital extras? Do you know what I mean? Because, like, let's say the actors were like, well, that's fucked up. Okay, well, Y'all remember what's that? I'm gonna take you for a ride. The arcade game. Somebody help me out here. It's a racing game. I'll take you for a ride. You got it. That's a perfect rendition of it. So you probably know exactly what I'm talking about after I sang that verse there. Cruising USA or something like that. No, guys. Oh my God. Cruising USA, is that it? Hang on. We're gonna get sued for this, but hang on. Is this the one? Hang on. The hell? No, I want the... God damn it. Okay, regardless. The point is, guys, let's not get too distracted and go down the rabbit hole. But the point is, a lot of the extras in those games were not people. So, like, what's to stop these companies from being like, okay, well, how about we just don't call you at all? And we just create digital people. Which, by the way, kind of easy to do. Check the Discord. Disney's already doing this. How does Disney keep getting away with this? Hang on, I want to watch this for a second, see what he's talking about.
What is that? Is that AI?
Ah, shit, yeah, they're already doing it. Yeah, they got Sims in the background. Yeah,
What do you mean all the extras got food poisoning?
They just did. They ate the sandwiches we left out. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I think we were giving out those leftover sandwiches from Zombies 3.
What?
But okay, no. I got this.
But-
Don't worry about it. No,
but
they're not gonna know.
And action.
That's kind of what it is, too.
Y'all, please tell me I'm not tripping. New Disney Channel movie prom package.
Look, watch this.
I was watching it, and I look in the audience.
What is that?
Yep.
AI? They got Sims in the background.
Yup.
What do you mean all the extras got food?
So that's what it is. And again, what's to stop that from happening at scale? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. Strange times, man. Okay, so AI research at Disney goes back a very long time. It revolves around all things being discussed today. Can we have something that helps us make movies, games, or conversational robots inside theme parks that people can talk to? Said one executive who has worked with Disney. Hao Li, CEO of Pinscreen, a Los Angeles-based company that creates AI-driven virtual avatars, said he worked on multiple research papers with Disney Lab while studying in Zurich from 2006 to 2010. Bro, they've been doing this? They've been researching this since 2006? Bro, are you starting to see why this strike is like not going... This issue I don't think is going to be resolved. Like, unless they really get into the weeds on this, like, that is bananas. They've been preparing for this since 2006, maybe even before it. Bruh. Whew, that's crazy, dude. That's wild. They basically do research on anything based on performance capture of humans creating digital faces, said Lee, former research lead at Disney-owned Industrial Light and Magic. Some of these techniques will be adopted by Disney entities. Disney Imagineering last year unveiled the company's first initiatives into AI-driven character experience, the D309 cabin droid of the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, which answered questions on video screen and learned and changed based on conversations with guests. What? They've already put that shit out? They've already got it out. Bro, they're sneaky. And this is what I mean is like when I said at the beginning of the stream, I think we're going to like pick our head up one day and the whole entertainment industry, the whole world is going to be changed. It's because these changes have been happening for a long, long time. That is crazy. That's crazy. It's wild. Let's see here. Not only is she a great character to interact with and always available in your cabin, which I think is very cool, behind the scenes, it's a very cool piece of technology, Imagineering executive Scott Townbridge said at the time. Wow. That is a fascinating article, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all found... I found that to be fascinating. So, again, it just seems like I don't know how we're going to get to an arrangement or to an agreement that is going to be satisfactory for some of these unions and organizations. And you know, the other thing, too, before we get into the Apple bit here, because I want to talk about Apple, and, like, that's just a whole nother compounding layer on top of it, because, Apple is a technology company. And so, like, the AI, like, we're talking about, like, a lot of AI perhaps driving a lot of the Disney experience for consumers. Well, if you're Apple, you want that to be driving things for the entire Apple ecosystem. And the idea of maybe even having it represented by Disney IP for certain specific people within the whole of the Apple ecosystem, that's a very attractive idea. So Apple sees a lot of value in Disney, right? Crazy, dude. Crazy, bro. Huh. I think VFX artists do want to use AI, just like Corridor Crew. I think a lot of them do. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if that AI droid at the Galactic Star Cruiser ever said, "This hotel is a terrible idea." Yeah, what would it say if you asked it that? That's kind of funny. They've been researching this stuff for a long time, and it's finally here. Yep. Anyone with a dream to work in Hollywood, RIP. Yeah, I mean, that could kind of be the case. I thought the article said, don't count on it for a moment. No, don't count it out this time. Yeah. What does the non-resolution look like then? Like a sit still forever? So, here's the thing. I'm not entirely sure what is being argued for by, like, both the union and the studios. But my understanding, and I think, a lot of you guys have probably read these or seen these headlines as well, right? My understanding is that the unions are against AI being any part of their work. Like, am I wrong? That's kind of what it is, right? It seems like the unions don't want AI in this thing at all. Hell, I'm almost 40. Do I go back to school? I don't know what to do. Well, the problem and the thing is, for the individual, it's like I have a lot of empathy and I'm like, holy shit, like that's crazy. But I think, like, if you have a job and you think you're safe from AI, I'm going to say you're probably wrong. Like, I'm going to repeat that again. If you have a job and you think that job is safe from AI or automation, I think you're probably wrong. And look, these strikes are a big part of that whole thing. There's going to be strikes apparently in September with auto workers, because a lot of auto workers and like, so it's kind of like interesting. I don't want to, get super political here, but Trump in his early days in office was like, kind of celebrating all these factories coming into the United States, but most of those factories are like 90% robots. So it was kind of a faux pas. So it's like, oh shit, yeah, we got these factories back in America, but it's all robots working in them, like 90% of them. So there's about to be another strike in September about that and about like that. And so I think from the workers' perspective, this is probably the time to strike and to go after it, because like it's not quite there yet. The technology is not quite there yet. And at the end of the day, you still need humans. I think for a long time you're going to need humans in some capacity here. So like this is the time to do it. But because this stuff has been researched for so long, and because I think it's very clearly the future, I don't know how the studios shut off their future avenues to get to this technology for like the current shit, for the current people, for the current structure to have market share moving forward. Like that just feels counterintuitive. Another thing that's happening right now that's really interesting. Have you guys seen, and throw one in the chat if you've seen this, have any of you guys seen the articles out there that keep saying like the studios are saving money because of the strikes? Anybody seen those articles? Bro. So, you know what would be such a crazy 4D chess move? And I'm not saying this is what's happening here, but this would be pretty sophisticated. The 4D chess move would be disrupt human-created content for years, forming a wedge between the consumers and the writers and creators that are credited with the creation of this content. And then come to a point where a strike happens and you already have somewhat divided the audience against the human creators. You've bloated production to the point where just telling Wall Street that being able to cut more and more costs into the future as this technology gets better is worth attributing value, market cap, to these companies. Forming the strike and spinning the strike as a cost-cutting time period and giving yourself an out by having this technological pathway forward. That's a pretty 4D chess, kind of a crazy, and again, I honestly don't, like, the thing is, I can't think, I have trouble believing that, like, people in Hollywood are that smart. Even the executives, actually, especially the executives. I have trouble thinking and believing that they are that smart. But regardless of planning, that might be what's playing out right now. Do you know what I mean? Because for now, Wall Street hasn't really crushed any of these companies based on the strike. At least to my knowledge, I don't think that's happening. You know? So, I mean, it is a weird time, dude. Like, it is a weird time because at this point, how many people, like, real talk here, guys, how many of you guys are kind of at the place where you just want the strike to be over? Like, you don't really care all that much about how it's over. You just want it to be over because you want to have your content back. You want to have your news back. You want to have your movies back. You want to have your late night television shows back. You just want the strike to be over. I'm in solidarity with those striking. Yeah, and I know there are people that are. But I would argue that there are a lot more people that are maybe not going to say it on Twitter. Maybe not going to shout it from the rooftops, right? But in all reality, they don't care. And they just want their entertainment back. It's yeah, I mean, and this is why like it's so interesting. Like I don't know that we've ever been at a sort of precipice like this. I don't know we've ever been here before. It's quite strong, it's quite weird, it's quite strange. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? All right, let's talk about Apple buying Disney. I've been talking about this shit for years, dude. Literally. Years. A Disney sale to Apple? Don't count it out this time. Facing the staggering problems afflicting all legacy studios, is Bob Iger contemplating a once unthinkable option? The signals he sent in Sun Valley suggest that it could happen. A few weeks before Bob Iger sat down for that CNBC interview in which he said the Disney linear TV networks like ABC and FX may not be core to the company's business. Wild statement. A veteran Hollywood executive mused The Hollywood Reporter on the possibility of a deal that would rock the industry, Apple buying Disney. It's an idea that keeps being discussed, even though many top executives have scoffed at it, and many still do. Apple doesn't want to buy a studio, they say. There's no way the feds would allow a huge deal like that to go through. But this observer wasn't so quick to rule it out. I don't think Apple would buy the company as it presently exists, he said. But if you see Bob start to divest things, that feels like he's prepping for a sale. And there's clearly no buyer like Apple. Oh my God. Kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. Holy shit. Divesting it so that it's not a monopoly that would get shut down. Interesting. Not long after that, Iger went on television and hung a possibility for sale sign on Disney's TV businesses. And just like that, it was a little more possible to see the outline of a slimmed down Disney that could be a tempting acquisition target. There's clearly no buyer like Apple, which is sitting on 62 billion in cash and cash equivalents, and has about 2.8 trillion market cap. I believe the market cap of Disney is 168 billion. So 168 billion compared to 2.8 trillion. And about 40% of what Disney's market cap is, Apple has in cash. Like right now. That's crazy. And while it might be very true that Apple doesn't want to buy a studio, maybe it would want to buy this studio. The one that, despite the challenges of the moment, has a vault full of priceless IP and remains the most valuable brand in entertainment. It's kind of true. It's kind of low-key true. And there have been long-standing special relationship between Disney and Apple. Steve Jobs served on Disney's board of directors from 2006 until his death in 2011. Iger joined Apple's board shortly after Jobs died. He resigned from that position in 2019, the same day Apple officially announced that it was getting into the content business through its Apple TV Plus service. Some Hollywood executives have been anticipating a future in which the studio herd will continue to thin dramatically. There will end up being 3 or 4 platforms, and everybody else gets hollowed out and acquired, says the industry veteran. There will be Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and one other. If you could put NBC Universal, Warner's, Paramount together, you'd probably have enough to survive. Kind of interesting because I believe NBC Universal is looking to buy Warner's in 2024, right? That's the big thing that Zaslav's working on, apparently. The feds might have something to say about any version of that potential combination. If Iger sees the world the same way, finding a home for Disney could be a temptation. Multiple sources say Iger, having returned to the CEO job in November, has never faced more stress. You don't say. Not only is he confronting an industry in transition, but much of the team that was with him in the good years is no longer at the company. General Counsel Alan Braverman and film studio chief Alan Horn have retired. CFO Christine McCarthy, having gotten a bit too close to Bob Chapek during his tenure as CEO, is gone after 23 years of the company. This may explain Iger's rapprochement with former top execs Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs, both of whom were passed over for CEO, but who have recently been named as consultants to the company. The two partners in their own businesses, Candle Media. They know the company well, and not only can they help figure out how to trim Disney Plus costs, but they can also assist in a possible sale of the linear TV assets, including ABC Broadcast Network and its 8 local TV stations, as well as cable channels like Freeform and National Geographic. Other holdings, like Disney Channel, Disney Junior, would seem to be of minimal value without larger companies' content backing them, and FX, without the programming hand of John Landgraf and his team, would seem to be devalued as well. One knowledgeable observer predicts Disney will load those assets with debt and sell to private equity. He believes the properties, which could be expected to generate $7 billion a year in profits, would sell for $50 billion. Disney's linear networks generated $8.5 billion in profits the fiscal year of 2022, though that is expected to decline as cord cutting continues. Disney could put $25 billion of Disney debt on the deal, cutting its debt load to $20 billion. Yeah, that's another thing. So Disney has about $45 billion in debt, which is another huge problem for them. And essentially because of where rates are currently at, because of trying to battle inflation, that debt is costing them more and more, right? It's pretty tricky. The company already mulling a sale of the India businesses that it acquired from Fox, and it would be surprising to see a sale of its majority stake in Nat Geo, National Geographic. Perhaps in conjunction with the sale of the cable channel, Disney's 50% stake in A&E Networks would also likely be available to the right buyer. The idea that Disney might sell its top of mind for some Wall Street analysts. The idea that Disney might sell is top of mind for some Wall Street analysts. Needham & Co. analyst Laura Martin has contended for some time that Disney could sell to Apple. She predicts that Disney will be purchased during the next 3 years, noting to take over premiums from media companies who typically been in the 30 to 40% range. If they don't sell, Disney will be competing against those tech companies in an industry with deteriorating economics because they never need to make money from content, we believe. That is so fucking key. So some of you guys earlier were like, what, but like why or like how? And I think this actually nails it. This actually nails it. And by the way, this is why the government allowed Disney to purchase the Fox assets. Because Disney claimed they're fighting against Amazon, Netflix, and Apple. Do y'all remember that? Come on, man. Y'all remember that? Here, let's go over this again. It'll be purchased during the next 3 years. If they don't sell, Disney will be competing against those tech companies in an industry with deteriorating economics because they never need to make money from content. Because they never need to make money from content. Like, Amazon doesn't care if its content makes money. It cares that its content is just that little extra incentive to keep Prime. Does Apple want to be in the theme park business? I don't know. Well, probably not as much as they want to have the IP. That's my answer. Probably not as much as they want to have that IP. But again, with everything we just discussed with AI, and they're Disney's probably doing a lot of this AI stuff because they're literally going to say to Apple, all of this stuff's going to get cheaper and going to be able to make money even better than it does currently because of AI and automation. That's literally a part of the pitch. It's very interesting. Yeah, is the theme park business even going to be around in 50 years? It'll be drastically different. Drastically different. In a research note in June, Martin said that Disney could give Apple the catalyst it needs to drive adoption of its forthcoming Vision Pro augmented reality headset. Oh shit, maybe this is where it's all heading with the parks. Are we talking about real parks? Or are we talking about like a digital metaverse type of park? Or some kind of combination, as Drake would say. Combination. The fact that Disney CEO Bob Iger was on stage touting Apple's Vision Pro goggles demonstrates the compelling strategic fit between Disney content and Apple wearable technologies. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Not everyone is so bullish on a deal. Anthony Sabino, an attorney and professor at St. John's, self-described as an insane Disney fan. Oh, well, that automatically discredits everything he's about to say. Iger's contract extension as a potential sale of Disney's linear TV assets demonstrates that Disney want him to guide the company, and there's no thought of him selling off the company. Bullshit. In my opinion. So, I'm not going to go through the whole rest here, man, but it's pretty interesting. Okay, this is a fascinating chart. Let's just really look at this because I think this really will nail it for some of you guys. Apple, 2.8 trillion. Look at the size of that big old red ball, man. Combination. Amazon, 1.45 trillion. Netflix, 193 billion. Comcast, 187 billion. Disney, 158 billion. Warner Bros. Discovery, 35 billion. Fox Corp, 16 billion. Paramount, 11 billion. So when people say Apple can't buy Disney, you just don't know what you're talking about. Apple is so much bigger than Disney. It's crazy. It's crazy. So it's pretty wild, huh? It's pretty wild shit. Pretty crazy. So I kind of want to get into just some chats, member chats, super chats, and hang out in the chat and to see what you guys are thinking. I do have to get out of here soon because I got a lot of videos to make. By the way, big video drop yesterday about some crazy leaks, dude. I have so many Marvel leak videos to make this week. I'm actually like really excited to do it. But for today's stream, I wanted to talk a little bit. I wanted to stop and smell these roses before they're replaced by robotic roses that spray out a perfect rose scent every single time. I felt like, before the meteor hits and we dinosaurs are erased from the cosmic blueprint, let's look around and talk about what's happening, man. Let's talk about what's happening. So, hope you learned something and had some cool insight and whatnot come your way. Okay, let's get into some of these chats. Let's get into the chat. Vincent says, if you know about AI singularity or the theory of when it finally can teach itself anything in seconds, the future is going to be wild. Yeah, but I don't even know if you need to go there. I think the future, I'm pretty sure the future is already wild, bro. Like, I don't think we need, like, people are like, oh, bro, but like, when the super intelligence is here, it's like, AI does not have to be super intelligent. It just has to be smart enough to get humans to like do the worst things that humans do. Like, how do I explain this? All it has to do is be able to take the worst parts of our nature and amplify it, and it's already over. Like, it doesn't have to be fucking Skynet, bro. It just has to be like a Skinner box. If you know from psychology, it doesn't have to. It just has to be the right button, and we'll fucking press it, bro. You know what I mean? Okay, Philip says, I maintain 3 athletic fields for a D1 school, and while we have robotic painters and mowers, there's a definite need for human supervision. Yeah, I hear you, and I think that that's absolutely real. I think you'll probably always need some human supervision. I just think that the trajectory of that is like probably not for how long, Nate says, halfway to Diamond, I'm wondering your thoughts on a show like Andor/Secret Invasion marketed for adults. To me, it's a bit demeaning to the adults who enjoy the IP. Oh, I 100% agree. I absolutely agree. And I think that's this is one of the reasons why I like really dislike Andor, is that like a lot of people are like, oh, bro, it's so artsy. Oh my God. It's like there's so much expression. Like, dude, this is what Star Wars should be like. Oh my God. No, it is the opposite of that. Of course, this is my opinion, but this is a boardroom suit decision. It's a suit decision. It's like, well, what if we did this with that brand? And then they like hire the people to do it, and they have a vision for how they want to like make Star Wars different. Like, you buy Star Wars, and yet the decision you make at the top level is, what if we did different? Like, it's so weird. I liked Andor. It was better than the other Disney PS. Yeah, I think that it's absolutely fair to say that there's a lot of quality in Andor that supersedes the quality of a lot of the other Disney Plus shows. But that's more of the story of how shitty the Disney Plus shows are. It's not the story of glorious Andor, in my opinion, right? Jonathan Staten says, 2 scientists are using AI to translate the Bible into unknown languages. What? Could be huge for the rest of the world to understanding languages faster. Oh, okay. Like, I read that all wrong the first time. Again, that felt like something out of Evangelion. The robots are taking the Bible and translating it into languages that no humans understand. Like, that's some Evangelion shit. But yeah, no, that's cool. AJ says, I love tech. However, I don't want humans to be replaced. What do you think will happen to humans when they are replaced? Do we end up like WALL-E? Surprisingly, I do think it'll be a lot like WALL-E. Now, I don't think we'll all be like fat and boneless and, all that kind of shit, although that could happen as well. But, like, even Elon Musk has said this. I think even there's some economist. There's this really famous economist from like the Chicago School of Economics. I think it's Friedman, I want to say. But this person is looked to a lot as like the father of, American economics and stuff like that, right? So even that guy had talked about subsidies in like UBI. And Elon said the ultimate end of capitalism may well be a form of communism. And he finds it to be hilarious because it's ironic, but that could actually be what it is. So I think subsidies at some point are absolutely essential. I mean, especially if these robots, like here's the thing, if the robots are very efficient, then there should be a value tax of some kind that's used to subsidize human existence. And if you think about something like Star Trek, I mean, Star Trek is a perfect future where we don't have we have all the resources and there's no money, and like Star Trek is like Roddenberry's, from what I understand, that's the whole point of it. It's like you're asking that question, like, what will humans do? Will it be like WALL-E? And I believe Star Trek is like an alternate version of WALL-E. It's like, no, what if it's like this? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. The guys, I just work here. Have you read I Have No Mouth and Must Scream? It's about a cruel artificial intelligence torturing the 5 remaining survivors of the global apocalypse. Wow, that sounds scary as hell. And no, I have not read of that. I haven't heard of it. I haven't read it. That sounds kind of cool. Brandon says, yo, Josh, you still playing Snap? I answered this earlier, man, but nah, man, I'm kind of off Snap. I love the game at its core, though, so if they were to, like, update it in a meaningful way, I think I could come back to it. John Cross says, any idea why Marvel just dropped new Wanda Legends vid? No, but, I mean, if you've been paying attention, I do think Wanda's a big deal for the multiversal saga. You know what I mean? So, yeah. The Senate. Welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Flippin' the Bird 85 says, AI scares me to death. We really need to stop this crap and think about the consequences. Well, that's a lot of that is what today's stream is about, is like talking about it, thinking about the consequences, etc., etc. But I hope, like, I'm not trying to paint a picture of doom and gloom, but I am trying to paint a picture of, like, this shit is far more complicated than I think many are giving it credit. And I think there are angles here that are perhaps not being explored. And I think it's totally fine to have empathy for the writers, or to have empathy for any human being that doesn't know how to, like, what do we do? I totally understand that. I mean, what do you do? I'm not sure. But I don't think the solution is stop innovation. Like, you know what I mean? What's up, X-Wing? It's good to see you. Like, I don't think the solution is we use legislation to stop innovation. Like, doesn't that just feel counter? You know what I mean? Second son of Mortis says, imagine if this just all elaborate marketing for the Tron Disney robot or reboot. That's all I can think about. Love y'all. Hit my 1 year. Let's go. Appreciate the love, man. Harris says, would you rather Apple buy Disney or Paramount? Apple. I think Apple's the move. Believe it or not, guys, and this is going to sound like a lot of the things I say, probably a little controversial. Disney needs a less Hollywood vibe to help them on their PR journey. I think right now, a big problem with Disney is that it feels elitist. It feels Hollywood in this sort of exploitative, factory of content sort of a setting. I feel like a lot of negative energy that people have towards Hollywood is being, imprinted on Disney. And so if Disney were to be bought by a tech company, I think people might actually think of it differently. You know what I mean? So, and this kind of goes back to like, why is the 10th anniversary better than the 9th? It's kind of a human thing. Like, I don't know if there's any actual factual thing there that's like, oh yeah, no, having it run by a tech company like literally means it will be better, but it's just the perception that it's going to be different. It's like the opening of a new chapter. It allows the human mind to think about the brand in a different context. This is why, like, getting rid of a coach, getting rid of an executive, bringing back Bob Iger, these are all moves to really get you thinking differently. I mean, that's what Wall Street is. It's a bunch of analysts, and whatever they think about a company can wipe out or create billions in thin air. It's really bizarre if you really think about it. But that's what it is. DAC says, yo, our sons were born around the same time. My son's birthday is on the 12th. He's turning 1. Yo, that's sick. Yeah. How fast did that year go, bro? How fast did that year go? I bet it went fast. I mean, it went crazy fast for us. I just want the strike to be over so every tweet isn't, and we'll know more about Deadpool 3 when the strike ends with fair pay. Like, bro, stop. Yeah. I do think a lot of that stuff's going to grow tired. Golden Hercules then follows up and says, also, holy frick, 2 years? A nerd Avenger? Let's go! Much love, everyone, and here's to the future. Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Yo, I'm so hot. Like, are y'all hot? Is everybody hot in here? Holy shit, dude. Anybody else really hot? God damn. When you get these lights going on in here, man. Whoo! Gets hot. Whew. I need to drink some water. Holy shit. The next house we move into, the most important thing to me is going to be, because we want to get a bigger house, right? But the most important thing to me is going to be where I can put my studio. And like, I need the studio to be like in a quality controlled, a sound controlled, a climate controlled environment. And it's like, whew, that's like a big deal for me. Like, that'll be so glorious because I'm basically in a shed right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm basically in a fucking shed with no insulation, and the sun just beams on this thing. And it just heats up like a fucking oven, dude. And then I got all these lights and the camera and the computer going on in here. I mean, it is... You ever heard this expression? It is hotter than a witch's tit in a cast iron bra. Have you ever heard that expression? Because it is literally hotter than a witch's tit in a cast iron bra! Whew! Okay, now that I've gotten that out, okay, let's just keep going. The Lord of Darkness says, with a very generous $10 holla, says, hey, Josh, I've been 100% behind the strikes from day one, and I hope they keep going. They deserve a good level of decent pay in order to pay their bills and buy food, etc. Also, thanks for liking my tweet. Oh, yeah, no problem, man. It was probably a good tweet. I usually don't like them unless they're good, so there you go. And I 100% understand your perspective on that. Masma says, I am already fat and boneless. Pause. Took me a second, but damn. Hearts and prayers, because the future is coming no matter what we do. Yeah, no, big time. Big time. It's coming. It's coming. It is this tidal wave. It's like looking out and we're just like, so that's the future, huh? And it's just, it's going to like crash on us, I'm telling you. Lord of the Darkness says, by the way, did you get my super chat from the end of yesterday's stream? I'm not 100% sure, brother. So, sorry. Justin says, just restarting the stream, but all I take from this stream is Josh might actually be AI. Also, I'm a PI if you need the reverse investigate red band. Hey, Justin, hit me up, dude. Let's investigate red bar, whatever. Let's investigate him either way. In fact, you got some friends? Let's put like 12 of them on there. Let's put like 12 PIs on this guy. Like, wouldn't that be the move? Oh, and as for the first part of your question, I'm absolutely an AI. But see, what I'm here to do is to help smooth the process over. Your robot overlords are coming either way. I'm here to help some of the most intelligent among your species, aka the Nerd Avengers, baby. I'm here to help y'all help the other humans accept this benevolent ruling class of robots. Yeah. Dirt Wizard says with the $10 holla, I think a big reason people are afraid of AI and it taking over the industry is because no one trusts our government to provide us UBI. We can live when we have no jobs. LOL. Great stream. So I think you're kind of talking about like the Charles Schwab, IMF, like those kind of ideas, and basically like because you would be completely reliant on the government in that example, right? For like subsidies and for all of that, right? And I absolutely get that fear, and I absolutely get that kind of sucks. I think technically there will be abilities and opportunities to monetize outside of that. But, I mean, what other solution is there? Like, if you have a better solution than subsidizing the life of, like, humans... Because I get it. I mean, look, by the way, no system is perfect, right? A lot of people really come at capitalism's throat, and they're like, dude, capitalism bad, capitalism wrong, etc. And I think that really is just the fact that capitalism is just like all systems, a flawed system. There are inherent flaws. Some of those flaws are exploited. You know, I don't like crony capitalism. I don't like rent seeking. In a capitalistic sense, if you're not actually providing value to the marketplace, I don't think you should be compensated. But capitalism, way better system than a lot of other systems, which have worse flaws. You know what I mean? So I would feel the same way about socializing income. You know what I mean? Second Son of Mortis says, I have no mouth, but I must scream, is our reality. Okay, I will look into that. That seems like a pretty interesting book. Harris says, badly worded, Apple by Paramount, Apple by Disney. Oh, I still think I would go with Apple by Disney, brother. Yeah. What does Paramount have? Like the Transformers? What are we talking about here? Appreciate you, though. DAC with the $10 holla says, innovation will never stop. People need to think about the consequences of a stagnant existence. Life expectancy needs to go up. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think the bigger thing, really, dude, and like this is pretty out there, okay? So this will probably like ruffle some feathers. But I think the bigger problem than what do we do economically and what do we do for people's livelihoods, I think a bigger problem for the human species is purpose. Because without purpose and something to drive for, a unified vision, I mean, I think just the worst parts of our nature kind of take over. So, like, I'm personally less concerned with how do we subsidize the changing industries moving forward. I'm more concerned about how can we give the human species a shared purpose that would drive and define our lives. You know what I mean? That's actually, I think that's a bigger existential threat. X-Wing says, Josh cooking up some of that nerd sweat for the fragrance line. Yeah, bro. You want some? I can send you some. Just like the bathwater chick, I'll just sell my sweat. That's actually, I mean, damn, dude, it's a hard economy. Maybe it's the move. Chilling in the Basement says, between AI and UFO UAP hearings, we're definitely living in a sci-fi movie. Also, hope what I sent you comes true. Loving this deep dive shiz. Nerd Adventures for life, take my money. Yeah, I am not going to report on that publicly. I think you understand. But I'm not going to report on that publicly until I hear more. But that would be fascinating, brother. That would be fascinating, brother. Cliff Reinhardt, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. Appreciate you, man. JJE Demon Beast says, it's my birthday. Hey, happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday, Demon Beast. Happy birthday, Demon Beast. Look at the sweat and the pores. Look at that shit. Happy birthday, Master Demon Beast. Happy birthday to you. I'm gonna pass out. I am going to pass out. Darth Sound says, F the writers. They don't deserve anything after the way they've been mailing it in for the past 5 years, ruining Star Wars and Marvel. Zero sympathy. That is a take I've seen before. And that's why I said, wouldn't it be interesting if the 4D chess move was to sabotage human-created content through executive interference to divide human audiences against human creators so that the AI transition is supported. It's an interesting thought. Vandalf the Black says, regulation must exist with AI, not for the sake of the species, but for the comfort of humanity to use it, just like the pipeline and parks exist together. Regulation must exist. I think you're absolutely correct. There has to be regulation when it comes to AI. And I think smart regulation with AI is absolutely necessary, but not for the comfort of humans to use it. Maybe a little bit for that. But I think it's more for the sake of the species. I do think you need both. But the thing is about regulation, right? Here's the thing about regulation. It's like, do we even know what this is going to look like? Like, I feel like it's hard to regulate this. And then the other side of it, too, and this is like sort of a weird, it's sort of like an American fear. And I don't know how much of this is actually real, but there's a lot of fear of like, okay, so if in America we regulate the shit out of this, but then China doesn't give a shit about that, then like we lose. You know what I mean? That's crazy. The Star Wars Obsession says, Apple does not really care about the IP like Star Wars and Marvel, but you think Disney does? Apple wants to buy Disney for their patents, technology, and studio time and space. I think it's actually both, but you're right. There are a lot of patents. There's a lot of technological stuff that could get cracked open from Apple's perspective. So I think that's actually true. It's actually true. But okay, guys, I got to get out of here because I'm going to pass out. It's very hot in here. I appreciate you guys, though. Big videos coming out for the rest of the week. I got to go write them up. I got to record them. I got to pass them off to some of the guys to edit. We've got some big old videos dropping out throughout the week. I'll see you guys on Friday, man. That's the next time I'll see y'all. And also, I want to do some Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know what we're going to watch, but I want to do some Saturday morning cartoons, okay? All right, everybody. Much love. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Man, this reminded me of the streams we used to have during the pandemic. Y'all remember? Some of y'all were here, man. Remember the 2020 streams? Felt kind of like, when there's an artist and their last couple albums, like, you haven't jived with, but then the old person comes back. Like, I felt like this was the old Josh. It's good shit. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Make sure you open up that third eye and wash out that stinky butt. I'll see you later.